Here we go. Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to DCTV live stream version. Welcome everybody that's joining me today on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Welcome in to DCTV. I hope you guys like how I put the intro in there. In the beginning, I finally figured it out a little bit. Finally figured it out how to put it in here on the stream. And I'm really excited to get in here and talk some, Cincinnati sports and just sports in general with you guys. So thank you for joining in and welcome. If you're new here, welcome to DCTV. Basically, we're infotainment YouTube where we talk about all Cincinnati sports. And if you're not new, welcome back. Good seeing you guys. Thank you for joining me. So we got Drake Barry to say the first person in here. What's up, my man? And then DMC Beats. I'm going to go ahead and pull them up right here. So if you are interested in any of the background beats I use in my videos, this man right here makes them. All copyright free. Hit him up if you ever need any beats for any of their YouTube or any of your projects that you want to listen to. And that's about it. So I want to go ahead and try to do something here for this podcast. So I actually have where I can, I'm going to try to play some music in the background for you guys. So give me just a second. I'm going to share my screen with you. And if I can figure out how to do this share. And if we go back, so this is the music I'm listening to. Let me know. Does that sound good? Does it need to be lowered, higher? Let me know. It's just the background, so you guys have something to listen to in the background when it gets quiet. Just let me know if you guys how it sounds for you guys. What's good, Drake? Good seeing you in here, buddy. This is what I like to see right here. This is what I like to see. Just discovered your channel a few days ago, but you're legit, my guy. Keep up the good work. I really appreciate that one, man. That means a lot. Hey, born and raised Cincinnati area. I going into sports broadcasting at Xavier University in the fall. Going to be a freshman, and I realized, all these beautiful cities across the United States have these amazing football teams, and what those football teams are content creators. And I feel like Cincinnati is lacking one. And since I'm getting into sports broadcasting, might as well start, digging my feet into the sand right now. And I really appreciate that, man. Really appreciate that. Drake said, don't have much time, so I'm going to get my 2 points out of the way real quick. Hit me with them, man. I appreciate you just stopping by. So hit me with those points. Hey, can I get a WHODEY ×1 for the viewers? WHODEY, baby. Who going to beat them Bengals? WHODEY. Marvin Davis? I thought that was said Marvin Lewis at first. I was like, yo, this man Marvin Lewis is in the stream. WHODEY, baby. All right. So we got the first one out the way. Drake Barry said Logan Wilson and Marcus Bailey both have awesome stories. First with Wilson growing up in Wyoming and cheering on the Wyoming growing up, and then wanted to play them growing up, and then came up. Yeah, I agree. So basically that's they're both really inspiring. And I feel like that's what's great about football is, you have all these guys coming from all across the country with their own, each player has their own individual story. And, especially the guys that don't get drafted first, second round, guys that get drafted later or even drafted, as their stories unfold when they come into the NFL and gain experience and everything, I feel like that's when they get a lot of recognition. But, so what? Marcus Bailey, let me pull them up real quick so I can try to get what's going on. For all the people joining in, welcome to DCTV. Thanks for joining in tonight. Hey, Donovan, how does the music sound? Can you guys even hear it? Is it nice and subtle? 'Cause that's kind of what I'm going for. Just let me know, buddy. So, yeah, you got Logan Wilson coming at the third round from Wyoming. Pretty motivating. That'd be like a kid growing up in Cincinnati wanting to play for UC or Xavier. So that has to be really motivating. And then, Marcus Bailey coming out of Purdue and, dealing with all those injuries over the past few years. That has to be really motivating as well. So, I mean, each player has their own individual story, which is really well. So, Donovan, the music should be a little bit louder. Let me. Sound now. All right. Yep, Marvin, welcome to the stream, buddy. Yeah, I agree, Drake. This is a good point right here. It will be interesting with the defense. Sorry. First time using the audio in the stream. I'm trying to make sure it sounds just right. But yeah, this one's definitely going to be interesting. I mean, the whole defense is totally interesting. I mean, let's be honest. They're really a big question mark, everything besides the defensive line. I saw some guy comment, don't be too hard on the linebackers this year because with how great the defensive line is, the secondary, it's going to be very interesting to watch because those guys should be able to carry to a certain extent. And a couple of our linebacker guys are really good coverage guys. So we have a good, they're going to be raw, but because they're good at coverage, they should be able to make up with that. Out of the 3 linebackers we drafted this year, who do you think will have the most successful career? That's a great question, Crow. I mean, Logan Wilson was drafted the highest. He honestly probably has the most day one ability. So I expect him, out of the gates to come in and probably be, the most effective right away. And then we go on to Akeem Davis-Gaither, who I think honestly could have just as a successful career just because the things he's good at. He's a great blitzer and he's super quick. And linebackers like that in today's NFL are money makers and are game-changing players. So players that play just like him is going to be very interesting. There we go. Thank you, Donovan. That should be better. And then I didn't answer a question, my bad. And then obviously round number 7, Marcus Bailey. Don't sleep on Marcus Bailey, guys. The only reason he fell to the 7th round is because of his injuries. If he can stay healthy, that guy can have just as good of a career, if not better than the other guys. Before he got injured, he was supposed to be a 2nd-round pick. Then he dealt with both, I think, two devastating injuries that were both to, both of his knees. And for a lot of teams, they were kind of out on him at that point, being that young and already dealing with, pretty bad injuries to both knees. A lot of guys were out on him, and the Bengals were in on him. So if that guy can stay healthy, man, he should have just a successful career. Yeah, those stats, man. I mean, obviously he's not playing the best of the best, but I mean, it's still D1 talent. I mean, you still have guys coming out of D2, D3 schools that still get drafted. Not many of them, but some that do. And they are just as successful. So, when these guys go on and they say they need to be paying the best, they got to be playing Alabama, Auburn, all these top teams, Ohio State. Not necessarily. Is the talent's there? The talent's there. Now, going up against NFL talent, yes, that's going to be a totally different aspect. I do not expect them to have anywhere near to those stats. But, the fact that, that speaks volume of what kind of player he is. Instead of just saying, oh, he's good at this, he's good at that. No, he's good at it. A lot of, a variety of things that are going to be effective for him in his career. So, yeah, I mean, that's a really good stat line, no matter what school you go to. I got you, Donovan. It should be fixed now. With T. Higgins adding to our squad, who gets less playing time, Ross or Tate? Man, this is a really good question. And honestly, you got to dig down deep because, Ross, this is his last chance to be a Cincinnati Bengal. So, I wouldn't be surprised if the Bengals do give him a shot and give him some playing time. And with that little bit of time he gets, it's all or nothing for him. So, that's going to be, career changing for, John Ross. But with the way Auden Tate really stepped up last year, he played great. I mean, the way he stepped up because, AJ Green got hurt. So, next man up. Auden Tate, he only scored one touchdown, which you want to see more out of him with his size. But the Bengals didn't score a lot in general. So I don't really hold that against him. But honestly, I do probably see Tate getting a little bit more playing time unless they, give Ross, let's say week 1, week 2, they let Ross win that wide receiver 3 or 4 spot. Maybe not against, Higgins, but maybe he gets that 4th spot. Let's say Ross does pretty well, with the playing time he does, he plays good. I do expect him to keep in the role. And you got to think, Auden Tate, it's a little bit harder for him because they already have some big guys on that receiver squad. AJ Green 6'4", T. Higgins 6'4", and then you have Auden Tate who's 6'5". So you're going to want a speedster in there that's going to help Burrow, which is John Ross. So you don't want 6'4", 6'4", 6'5". You're going to want a little bit of everything. So, Auden Tate's really going to have to be successful in the red zone for him to get a lot of playing time because I think that's where he's going to see most of his playing time this year is in the red zone. Now, this also depends on if the Bengals go 4 or 5 out. If the Bengals they want to do a lot of 4 and 5 out, they all should get good playing time. You know what I mean? To have Ross and Ross and Tate out there at the same time, that's pretty big moves. The Bengals have a good wide receiver depth, and I expect them to use it this season. To benefit Burrow. Great question, Marvin. Yeah, I think Wilson and Davis could play both inside and out, in my opinion. We'll see, man. I mean, obviously, whatever they do best in the season and training, that's where they're going to be placed. But you never know. I think the linebackers are already a group of guys that are already thrown in there as at a young age. So I think position changes be what it's very possible for the Bengals this season. So I wouldn't doubt it. My man Roach is joining us. WHODEY, my man. Thanks for joining the stream. I really appreciate you. Good seeing you, buddy. WHODEY, baby. Facts. Question, will Joe Burrow, like my cousin, he plays for the Bengals now? You trying to say like you're Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow's your cousin? Because if that's what you're thinking, I'm liking that big time. Because that sounds good to me. Let's be honest. If Joe Burrow can be half the quarterback Patrick Mahomes has turned out to be, then, man, that's a great quarterback in my eyes. Even though I expect him to be more than half of what Mahomes is. But let's just say that's all he turns out to be. I'll be okay with that. I don't know about you guys. But if you're a Kansas City fan, I don't got any hate for you, my man. Honestly, if I'm not watching the Bengals, I love watching some Mahomes. You got to at least watch some highlights of him, right? Even if you're not watching Mahomes live, you always got to, go back and see the plays he makes because that man is the real deal. Real deal. No matter what team you like, the Bengals, Steelers, whatever. No, my cousin is a defensive end. Well, yeah, Sam Hubbard. Carlos Dunlap. Got a couple of guys. Cousin. I'm trying to think who you're talking about. Let me see. Carl Lawson? I'm so confused, my guy. So this is interesting. I've seen a little bit of this question. I would love to see Gathers in the walk-up safety role that Williams was playing last year. I think Wilson will be a perfect fit next to Pratt. Yeah, I saw a lot of that. That guy is so quick, and really his plus side is his speed and getting to the quarterback. But honestly, if he can drop back and coverage some plays, he could definitely, see some interceptions or some pass deflections going on. So, if the Bengals do decide to play some of that, I don't doubt it. I mean, the Bengals defense are kind of in a shot where they could be throwing a lot of defensive schemes around. I know, at least on DCTV, we've been talking about how the Bengals are probably going to be throwing around a lot of offensive schemes, 4 out, 5 out, 2 tailbacks, a tailback, whatever the situation may be. But we got to think about the defense too, man. With these young linebackers, I'm pretty sure the Bengals are going to be trying a lot of stuff to see, what formula fits right. It's going to be a fun one to watch. It's going to be a real fun one to watch. Seeing what these guys have to go through. It's going to be a good one. I don't know about you guys, but I'm excited. I mean, what are you guys more excited for, the offense or the defense? We talked about this last stream, and I don't know. I mean, I think offense just because of Joe Burrow. But, I mean, if you're talking defense, I'm just as interested to see what these young guys can do, and obviously the new players we got in the offseason. Tradition, current team. It says he's a defensive tackle. You said defensive end. 6'2", 311 out of Kansas State. That's interesting, man. Honestly, if I'm going to be honest, I don't know too much about him, but I'll definitely look into it. Rookie, 6'2", 311, 23 out of Kansas State. They just have him listed as tackle, not end, so that's why I was confused. All right, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and get my social media involved real quick, so that's why you're going to see my phone. Snapchat, we are live right now on YouTube. Come slide up and just say what's up and talk some football. See you there. All right, let's get some more people in the stream. All right, someone hit me with another topic. Someone throw another question at me. Let's get to it. What'd you guys think about today's video? Did you guys like it? I know it's doing really well for a day one video. Not a lot of my videos are doing the numbers this video is for just being a couple hours after release. I mean, I think the reason why it's doing so good is because, no matter what kind of Bengals fan you are, this is not controversial. It's every Bengals fan thinks the same thing, that Tyler Boyd is underrated. Whereas like my John Ross video, there were some fans saying he's not even going to be on the team next year, blah, blah, blah. Even though I still feel like it was a topic to talk about, I think everyone feels like the video I just did today where it's Tyler Boyd. Oh, yeah. It's seeing a lot of love and a lot of comments too. So I really appreciate, some of you guys that are in here like Roach and Dre, you guys were actually in the comment section on that video. So I appreciate that. And if you join the premiere is always a good time. So definitely appreciate that big time. But yeah, I mean, when we talk about, I think the big reason what got me into it is the past. I feel like every time we live stream, we talk about receivers. So I feel like I'm going to definitely try to hit a couple more receiver topics because they're very popular with Cincinnati right now. And even if you're not, even in the national media, when you think Bengals, you either think, everyone, honestly, national media, the only thing they think about Bengals is losing playoffs and Joe Burrow going to be a bust. At least that's all I see. So that's real funny. We'll see. I don't know. I didn't think I'd be hitting 1,000 this quick, so I'm not sure. I thought it would take a little while, but we're already, I think, less than 90 away. Just this morning it was 100. Yeah, we're less than 85 about. So I mean, it's coming closer. Definitely more excited for the offense. I really don't see how defenses will be able to shut down all of our weapons. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited in general, but our offense is going to be fun to watch. I mean, from AJ Green coming back to, Joe Mixon expecting to have a big year this year, and then Burrow, with all these weapons this guy has, it's going to be a fun one to watch. And, to see how many yards he throws, how many touchdowns. I mean, we were talking last stream about if he could possibly break the touchdown record that Baker Mayfield just broke a few years ago. And honestly, I wouldn't doubt it with the way this team is so far. I don't doubt it. So definitely excited for the offense as well, my man. Pull up the next question. Why hasn't AJ signed his tag yet? What's the wait? I mean, honestly, man, I'm asking the same thing. I believe AJ's ready, but the Bengals aren't ready to pay him the amount he wants. I feel like the way the NFL is, nowadays, I mean, a lot of contracts go down to the wire when they get signed. I mean, look at Dak Prescott, for example. I know he's a quarterback, but I mean, AJ, this is possibly one of his last contracts in the NFL. If he doesn't sign his tag, if he actually goes for a contract, 3-4 years, he's already 31, about to be 32. It's his final contract. So the man might not want a tag. I mean, if you look at it, he's been injury prone. I kind of don't blame him. But at the same time, I don't blame the Bengals because the Bengals want a good deal, but at a right price. They don't want to overpay for somebody who is older, out of his prime, even though he's been loyal to the city, been a heck of a player, is going to be in the Hall of Fame one day. At the same time, they got more future on that team than they do veteran presence and past players on the team. Let's be honest. The future is more bright, and players like AJ Green are going to help Joe Burrow. Yes, he's going to be a security blanket, but I just feel like they're trying to find that right deal. I mean, I'm definitely a player when it comes to contracts talks because I want players to get paid. But when it comes to my own team, the NFL is a business, and I want the team to make the right deal. You know what I mean? I don't want them overpaying AJ Green to end his career and to not be as productive. Now, I do obviously expect AJ Green to be productive, but I don't expect him to put up numbers like he has in the past. I mean, you got to think, one, he has way more competition than he's had in a while, if not ever, on Cincinnati. So not all the balls are going to be going to him. Two, there's a whole new quarterback that he's really never been with before. So it's not, Andy Dalton back there anymore. And, he's thinking, hey, man, I'm going to end my career because there's been talks about him saying he wants to retire as a Bengal. He looked up and enjoyed what Larry Fitzgerald did and, in Arizona, and he said he wants to do something like that in Cincinnati. So honestly, man, I just think it's both sides being a little, getting what they want and not just coming on a deal yet. And I believe that's kind of the answer. Why not? And I don't know. We'll see, man. I want to do a video on AJ Green, but at any day now, something else can happen. So put up the next question. Roach said, any idea what those favorite players could be? Zach Taylor asked Burrow to bring over from LSU. I don't know, man. I mean, I can't really even guess anymore because I thought Moss were going to pick him up. I honestly thought we were going to bring up Moss to, pair with Joe Burrow for our tight end spot because, our tight end isn't the brightest spot of them all. And, we definitely could use another one or two, especially a young guy to help build around Joe Burrow. So that's a tricky one, man. We'll have to see because I thought they were bringing in Moss and they didn't. So your guess is as good as mine. Okay, this is a good one. So what's this show about? This show is about an infotainment YouTube channel where I basically do a sports podcast for all Cincinnati sports. So you got Reds, Bengals, really anything Cincinnati related or just national media that might be huge, I will touch upon. So all your Bengals news will be here at DCTV with quality infotainment releases Tuesdays and Saturdays at noon every week, and then live streams whenever I get some free time. Welcome for joining DCTV, my man, and hope you're here for the long road to stay because we're on hashtag road to 1K and we're really close. It's a rumor, man. I don't know if there's enough proof to say he faked it. They wanted Andrew Luck to sit out all year with a fake injury. I don't know. That's a possibility. EG Gaming said, do you think Higgins can fill that role that AJ will leave behind? Not right away, but yes. I mean, you got to look at it in this way. AJ Green's favorite player in the draft was Higgins, and Higgins growing up shaped his game after AJ because it was his favorite player. They play just alike, same size. I definitely do. And that's why I think one of the big reasons to keep AJ Green on the team is to help Higgins grow because everything AJ Green knows, he's going to teach to him. So if he's on the team, he's going to get that. If AJ Green retires, leaves, gets traded, whatever it may be, he won't get that. So I think, yes, eventually he will be able to. And let's not forget about Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd's a different type of receiver, but he's put up, 2 back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, and AJ's, while he's gone. So I think everyone's freaking out about AJ, and I'm saying, look what the team's already done without him, and look what the Bengals have built around him. Do you think the Bengals have not thought about his future? I think the Bengals, it was a smart business move taking T. Higgins, because they're just tightening the leash or the collar just by getting more talent, because they're letting AJ know, like, hey, man, it's not just you anymore. We got some guys. So let's talk a little bit less than what you're wanting. Good question. What about Maine Mixon, man? What's the deal may look like? I already did a whole video on hashtag PayJoeMix. Actually, is one of my best videos, so you can go check that out after the stream. I forgot what I said, but I just said that last stream. I was gonna look at it. So I basically ranked him anywhere from the 8th to like the 5th best running back in the league or something like that, and then went through the league, the top paid running backs, and went to where the top 8, top 5 running backs are paid, and basically said, that's just what you should look around. I believe it was anywhere from 8 to 10 or 7, 6. I don't know, man. I totally forget. That video was a couple weeks ago, but that video's done really well, and you guys loved it a lot. So my numbers and my predictions of what I said, you guys totally agreed with. So I honestly forget what the main number I said was, but you guys definitely agreed. And there was a few people who said more, who said less. So Larry from Pitt lost the Pitt to the Super Bowl. AJ can do that. We'll see, man. That would be good. That would be good. If Ross and Green have productive seasons and stay healthy, would you rather keep them on the team next season? Honestly, I would rather keep Green, because I'm not even if a productive season for Ross isn't a 1,000-yard season. I mean, we got to be realistic. Maybe on last year's team, if he stayed healthy, which could have happened if he did stay healthy, but there's just so much talent in that receiving group. I don't know if he would beat those other guys out. And I say Green just because he has more of a veteran presence, and if he does, that's just a bounce back season where he's, besides the injuries, when he's on the field, he's productive and reliable when he's on the field. And then you add that veteran presence where he can teach guys like T. Higgins, teach him the ropes of how to be a Hall of Fame receiver. I would way rather have his presence than Ross, who would have only one good season. And although Green has had some, injury problems, he's 31 years old. He's on the back end of his career, where Ross should be just starting his career. So as much as I would like Ross to return, even if he did have a good season, the Bengals are not going to pay him a lot of money. And I hope the Bengals don't pay AJ Green a ton of money. I hope he gets what he deserves, but I don't believe that's a lot of money winding up in the last few years of his career. I'm going to post my Instagram. Instagram live right now on YouTube. So come tune in and check it out. Say what's up. I think the reason we went and spent in free agency was because of Taylor being focused on free agency as well as the draft. But Lewis just wanted to build through the draft and not mess with free agency. And I think it was the whole point. Because imagine if the Bengals would have got a new quarterback in Zach Taylor and still not spent money. How would that sit with? I think Bengals fans would have literally rioted. I mean, I think it was kind of that whole thing. Okay, if we're going to get a new quarterback, we got to start turning this place around. And I feel like that was kind of the spot. And also, Zach Taylor probably said, if I'm going to come to your team and be a head coach, I'm going to go get players I want. I'm not just going to sit here and not be able to go get free agency players and make moves. I'm sure that was a talk, maybe not like that, but I'm sure it was a talk before he even became coach for the Bengals. You know what I mean? You don't go to a team expecting not be able to make any moves. And, Marvin Lewis sat there for a decade plus. There's not going to be – nothing's new for him. It's just another season, another year. And, he kind of did his thing. So I feel like, it was just Zach Taylor. But I feel like the front office noticed, okay, well, if we're firing Lewis, we're not going to do the same thing. And I feel like I think they really knew they didn't have a choice. They really didn't have a choice. So I think it was a little bit of everything, Drake. I agree. All right, so Marvin's last question says, why does the mainstream sports media hate Cincinnati so much? Is it the Bo Jackson curse? Man, that's a question that I don't think anybody has the answer for, but it's just because we're not a big city team, you know? We aren't the Cowboys. We aren't the Packers. You know, we aren't these big teams. It's just Cincinnati. And the fact Cincinnati doesn't have any Super Bowls or anything like that, that doesn't help. But the fact that Cincinnati hasn't won any playoff games recently doesn't help. I mean, the Bengals still made 5 straight years in the playoffs. Didn't win anything, but they made it, and still nothing happened in the media. We don't have a all-star quarterback like Patrick Mahomes, Prescott. You know, we had Andy Dalton. It's just Andy Dalton. You know, so I feel like because all those pieces, there's not anything that's stardom for Cincinnati or stardom on the team. And in social media's eyes, they don't. Why talk about Cincinnati? You know what I mean? And I feel like that's a big reason. And I feel like a lot of these big-time guys aren't from Cincinnati. Most of them aren't. And then you have guys like Carson Palmer, who, even though he played for Cincinnati, disrespects Cincinnati himself. So even the players, besides Chad Johnson, maybe a handful of others, don't really get a lot of good, don't get a lot of good words out of Cincinnati. So I feel like all around, it's kind of something that needs to change. And maybe one day when I get a lot bigger, I would love to change it. Change the aspect on how the national media looks on Cincinnati. And, Joe Burrow, with how he plays and his potential, he could totally change the national media's eyes around. Kansas City wasn't that much talked about before Patrick Mahomes. Probably a little bit more than Cincinnati, but you put a superstar on a team like that, don't matter what city you're from. So if Joe Burrow, not saying he's going to be Patrick Mahomes, but if he blows up in a similar fashion, expect Cincinnati to be in the national media and be in a lot. And I bet you a ton of these blue-collar ESPN guys would change overnight how they feel. Colin Cowherd hates on Joe Burrow and says he's going to have, because he's Cincinnati, his career is going to be nothing. I bet you if he finds success in the next 2 years at Cincinnati, he changes his mind. He'll, instead of it being down on the Bengals, he'll be on there like, oh, yeah, the Bengals are good. So I feel like it's a whole mix of things, and I would love to change that one day. Last year, Mixon took the blame, and we had none. Last year wasn't Mixon's fault, and if you think that, you're ignorant. No offense. It was the whole team, it was the whole organization. You can't blame it on one guy. So it was everybody. You know what I mean? How much do you think that Williams makes the O-line better? I mean, he's a first-round talent. He should make the team a heck of a lot better in general. Obviously, if he stays healthy, I think it's going to be day and night if he's on that offensive line or not. Obviously, he hasn't played a single snap in an NFL game yet, but the talent is there. That's why he was a first-round draft pick. And I think if he stays healthy and gets on that field, it's going to be night and day. It's going to be a huge difference. So it's going to be very exciting to watch. And yeah, I think it's going to be night and day, man. And that's why my video on him did pretty well. It's not my best video, but it's one of my best. And you guys can think that's pretty good for an offensive lineman. Offensive linemen, wide receivers, safeties, corners, aren't playmakers, so they usually don't get out in the media like that. This battle station is fully up. Hey, this is what we all think here in Cincinnati. And the national media will see that after a few weeks. You know what I mean? I think we all think that. Hey, this is what I like to see. I really appreciate this. Trying to come up in Cincinnati being a content creator. I love seeing this, man. Much love, guys. Hey, and that's why we're on hashtag road to 1K, baby. We grow every single day. Even the days I don't drop videos, we're still here. So no. I love Joe Mixon, but that's not it. For Cincinnati, not for the money we can spend. If Mixon asks for Christian McCaffrey type money, he will not be on the team, and he shouldn't. Although I don't think he will. The Bengals revived his possible career, having a career, and he's done just that being here in Cincinnati, so I don't expect him to. But if he does, he should not be in the Queen City, and that's not where he belongs. But I do not think this will happen. But if the Bengals do sign him to a $16 million deal or $15 million, even 12 up, I would – as of right now, it's his production. I don't think that's a good deal. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm pro player, but at the same time, I'm pro team because I want my team to do good. I want to go see Jamal Adams, for example. I want him to go to the Cowboys and get paid top dollar. But if you get him to Cincinnati, I want it to be a decent deal for both sides. You know what I mean? So no, if he should not be a Bengal if that happens. They say Dalton made 4 years in a row. 2015 was not his team, but he made them in the playoffs. I mean, if you're a quarterback in an NFL team, it's your team, in my opinion. It's kind of like people saying if Joe Burrow's going to get the captain badge or not, even as a rookie, I think he should. The quarterback is the most valuable position of all of sports in sports history. So, I mean, if you're a quarterback, in my opinion, you roll that ship. Obviously, you need parts around you to roll that ship, but, that's just my opinion, though. Before the playoff loss, Adrian Camp did win. Okay, makes sense. Burrow is our savior. Look, man, I'm not saying that, but Burrow can change a lot of things for Cincinnati. Just like Carson Palmer could and did, Burrow can do even more. I mean, not every year, not in like many lifespans can your team get a number 1 pick in the draft unless you're a Browns fan. But, yeah, I mean, he can really be city-changing for Cincinnati. One day, maybe Cincinnati might be considered a football city, you know what I mean? Unless the Reds decide to turn it on finally. Ooh, not very nice. Mixon said he wanted to blame. You're ignorant. But if you feel that way, man, don't be in the stream. But I don't care what Mixon says. It's not his, it's not his team. At least it's not anymore. And he can't just take all the blame. You know what I mean? The Queen City is ready for a new day. You're right, man. We sure are. And, as I've been doing this YouTube thing, I've been growing in Cincinnati and as a fan base, I've talked to a lot of Cincinnati fans that are like, especially with that, 5 reasons to be excited for the season. I've talked to a lot of people and they're like, hey, man, I really agree with you. And, obviously my number 1 reason that video was about Joe Burrow, and that's just facts. And they're like, man, we're ready for a change, and I hope the 2020 season does happen. But at the same time, I'm seeing so many negative Bengals fans out there. It's like, man, you're kind of the stigma why Cincinnati is what it is. If there weren't so many of you, we could possibly change what it is around here. You know what I mean? You got to think positive. And, I've seen so many people saying Cincinnati hasn't done enough this offseason. Can't you just be glad what they did? They did a lot more than half. I'd probably say more than half the league. So, I mean, let's just be excited for what the Bengals have done and, get ready. Do you think we should sign a vet QB for Burrow? I spoke a little bit on this before. I spoke about this a little bit before. I don't know, man. I kind of feel like that kind of would have been an Andy Dalton spot if he would have stayed. I feel like signing a QB and building one is definitely different than, grooming one. So it's just totally, in my opinion, I think that's kind of something you want to do. A guy that's already been in that spot. I mean, I don't know. I think we spoke about who was on the market. And I'm trying to think. There was the guy was on the Vikings, then the Broncos. Oh, what's the guy? But even someone like him, his style isn't even similar to Joe Burrow. I just don't see what's the need for it. You know what I mean? So it's kind of how I feel on that. I think it would have been awesome if Andy Dalton would have took over and Andy Dalton would have, because I mean, look at the role he's in. Dallas right now is basically his own role is basically trying to bring Dak Prescott's pay down and sit the bench. So that would have been sweet to see him stay and move on to something new. But it is what it is. You have to think that Mixon has put up 1,100 yards under a bad O-line. And not even a bad O-line, a dysfunctional offense, I would say. You know what I mean? Having Andy Dalton drop off like that totally doesn't help. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Mixon has a lot to look forward to. I think he will improve. But I still don't think he should be paid top dollar. But that's just the running back position. You know what I mean? That's just what it is in the NFL, and that's not going to change for a while. So depending on how you look on that, that's just what it is. Drake said, I can personally see Wilson turning into a Sean Lee caliber player. I can see Bates becoming a slightly worse version of Troy Polamalu. Yeah, man. I mean, those are big names right there. But like I said, with most of these guys, the potential is untapped. So, depending if they tap into it or not, we'll see. I mean, Sean Lee, Wilson, it's definitely there. And that's what you get every NFL draft. You get comparisons. You know what I mean? They compare different guys to different people. And, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But, yeah, the potential is definitely there. Bates is interesting because I don't think there'll never be a Troy Polamalu again. That's just a kind of a player I won't ever see again. Even as a Bengals fan and watching on the Steelers, just Troy Polamalu was one of a kind. That's like saying somebody can be like another Randy Moss. It's just not going to happen. But I see what you're saying. The potential is there to be a fantastic playmaker player. I totally get what you're saying, Drake. Crow said, do you think the Steelers are on their way to the bottom of the division? So that's a great question. I'm going to try not to be biased. Well, it's kind of hard to say because, with the Steelers, they have a great defense with a lot of talent on it. A defense that is probably, easily top 15, possibly top 10, top 5, some people think. But I'm assuming you got to look at the quarterback spot. You have somebody who, Big Ben, obviously is on his last leg, a few more years. Some people think they can get 3 more solid years out of him. I don't even know if you can get that, honestly. We'll have to see how he does this year. And he's coming from a huge injury. That injury he had could end careers. So we'll see how he does. James Conner's decent. They got, Juju. He has a bright future. He's a good player. If they don't handle the quarterback position, definitely. Because Lamar's going to stick around. Baker is a question mark. We'll have to see what Baker does. But even without Baker, there's still a lot of talent on that Browns team. But the Steelers, yes, because Mason Rudolph is not the answer for the Steelers. Mason Rudolph is not a good quarterback and not a starting quarterback in the NFL. I've spoke to many Steelers fans, actually, and I spoke to them and said, hey, man, is Mason Rudolph the answer for you guys? And 9 out of 10 of them have told me, no, man, he's not. He is not. So unless they approach that quarterback position in these next few years and try to start looking towards the future, which I know they already tried with Rudolph, yeah, they could definitely be on their way down, depending on Big Ben. Good question. Bengals produce good running backs. Even look at Hill before the playoff fumble, and if Mixon doesn't get up to 13,400 yards, I say if he products play calling like all recent Cincinnati running backs. Yeah, man, but you got to think, Zach Taylor is not going to be running the same thing as Marvin Lewis. I do expect Zach Taylor to throw more than, rush more. So, 1,100 yards under Zach Taylor could just be 13,400, 1,300 yards plus like Marvin Lewis. You know what I mean? So I do see what you're saying, but I don't expect us to rush as more as we did in the past under Marvin Lewis. But yes, I totally agree. And the offensive lines in the past have been better. Andrew Whitworth and those guys were solid NFL linemen. Whitworth is probably a Hall of Famer. So do you think we should sign a vet QB to help Joe Burrow learn the ropes? Kind of like I just spoke about before. Yes, but no. Just because I'd rather see, a Cincinnati guy go in there and train him like Andy Dalton. Whereas, we have to go get somebody else. It depends on the guy for me. I always talked about maybe Joe Flacco since he has a Super Bowl ring and all that good stuff and, a bunch of veteran. That's not a bad idea if we can get him for cheap. I think it just depends on the guy. You know what I mean? Last question, says Marvin. Who goes first? Geno, Dunlap. I love them both, but they are aging. We're probably keeping Geno just because he's a defensive tackle over end. Ends, defensive ends weren't what they were even 5-10 years ago. You know what I mean? So I do expect Geno to be on the team longer just because, yes, defensive tackle is just as hard as end, but I feel like end is definitely more replaceable. So even if we're talking maybe not even off the team, if we're just talking replaced, I definitely could see those guys in Bengal jerseys to retire. even if they're still not starting, even if they're just, Terrence Newman on the Vikings or whatever, even when he was on the Bengals, not playing that much, but, just being there to have that veteran presence and teach the young guys the ropes and, help guys stay on track. But I definitely see Geno less replaceable just because of what the end position is today. It is something else in the NFL. Andrew Parrott said, if we do end up with a top 5 pick again next year, but our O-line does turn out to improve a lot next year, do you like the idea of maybe choosing Chase to complete our future wide receiver core? Hold on, that again. No, I wouldn't go wide receiver core. I would definitely go. You said if offense lines turn out, so we can't go O line. I would definitely go like a playmaker on the defensive side, so in the secondary or the corner, like a corner. If we can get a game changing top three cornerback in college next year, that would be huge for Cincinnati. Because yes, we do have a solid. We got a solid pickup from free agency for our corners, but is William Jackson going to be a superstar? I don't know. Is he going to be a heck of a player? Yeah, he already is. Could he possibly be a star? Yes. But I think if we can get a superstar corner out of the draft, would be nice. That's what I would go over receiver. I'm not taking a receiver in the first round with the receiver squad we have as of now. Even if we get rid of AJ, I'm not going receiver in the first round. Unless it's a once-in-a-lifetime generational Randy Moss. You know what I mean? I'm not going receiver. Dalton was due to make $17 million. What's he making now? If we could get him on a veteran contract where he knows he's going to be on the bench, then yes. But if we go out and get any other guy, I don't know, man. Like I said, I think it just depends on the guy. If you're going to go get a rushing quarterback, if you're going to go get Michael Vick and bring him on the Bengals to teach, well, I guess Vick was good. But, if you're just going to go get a rushing quarterback, like a Tyrod Taylor, I don't think that's really going to benefit, Joe Burrow in the long run. In a best-case scenario, how many players do you think will break 1,000 yards this year? Well, Mixon with rushing, AJ Green with receiving, that's 2. Tyler Boyd with receiving, that's 3. Well, obviously, Burrow, I don't know if you want to count him. And then, T. Higgins would be crazy as a rookie to do those numbers. Most likely not happen. I don't see Auden Tate, crossing 1,000 before, T does. And John Ross, that's a big blank. So I definitely see, AJ crossing it and, Boyd, and then obviously Mixon. So there's 3 definites right there. But, I mean, if Higgins were to break out and get that, that'd be crazy. But again, it depends on what scheme we're running. Are we running a 3-out, 4-out, 5-out? Are we throwing the ball more? Are we rushing the ball a lot? So it depends. I mean, there could definitely be possibly 5 or more players that do get it, but that would be, we'd have to be having a great season, I'll tell you that. Drake said $3 million. Yeah, man, something like that would be right down Cincinnati's area. I mean, you got to think we're getting as much as money coming in as other teams. So, yeah, that'd be pretty team-friendly. And that's not just with Dalton. That's with any other veteran quarterback who were to come to, help Joe Burrow. All right. These are the messages I like to see. Marvin Davis said, thank you for all the answers. Awesome channel. I most definitely subscribe to it also. Next vid coming soon. I'll be waiting. Best of luck, brother. Hey, you too, man. Have a good night. Take it easy. Have a good week. Appreciate you stopping and supporting DCTV, man. It's all what we're about here, the DCTV family. Bring that quality infotainment sports news of Cincinnati in here and just enjoying it and talking to fans. All Cincinnati sports fans, including myself. So appreciate you guys tuning in, man. If you guys haven't already, go ahead and leave a like on the stream. Go ahead and do that for me. Leave a like. Subscribe if you haven't already. #road to 1K. Man, we are getting close. Just 2 weeks ago, we were around 800, if even. I don't even know if we were at 800 2 weeks ago. And we are at 900 plus. Less than 100 for 1K. Boy, am I so excited. Thank you guys so much for all the support. What did you guys think of today's video? Did you guys like it? Let me go ahead and check it out right now. But it was, last time I checked, Today's video is doing great with Tyler Boyd. I knew it would. I knew it would. Almost 200 views in less than 5 hours. That is fantastic for a channel like me. And I'm sure the like ratio is great, so I appreciate you guys for that. And if you do like the thumbnail on that video, make sure you go follow Sad Cincy Fan on social media. He's been making some of my thumbnails lately. That guy has a lot of talent. Shout out to him. His social media is in the description below. Go follow him. He's a Cincinnati guy as well, guys. So go show him that support. Adrian said, if the season happens like we expect, how many games are planning on going to if you are planning? Well, I'm at least planning on going to one preseason game. I think I'm going to the Bengals-Vikings game in the preseason. There's a couple games I don't mind going to. I haven't really planned anything out, but I would love to at least go to 2, maybe 3, depending on the price of tickets. But I have planned going on to some good games this year. Definitely. I haven't really planned it out because usually if it's next season, I might buy tickets really early. But with everything going on, I really don't want to because they might return you full price, but not the tax you pay on it. So if you pay $15 in tickets on tax, those $15 are gone. So yeah. I don't know, man. I expect to go to a few at least. I would love to. Andrew said, how much money do you think the Bengals will ever be willing to pay for a free agent? If it was a great signing, them spend money this offseason. Keep up the great work, man. Thank you for the support, by the way. I don't know, man. It depends on the player. What kind of player are we talking about? Quarterback. In the future, if Joe Burrow does turn out to be the player we expect him to be, that's going to be a huge contract, especially in a couple years, 3, 4, 5 years when his contract's coming up. By then, Patrick Mahomes is going to be paid over $200 million by then. So that's a lot of money right there. If we bring in a top talent cornerback next year or linebacker, I think, Bengals would be willing to spend a good amount of money. I mean, you saw the money they spend this offseason. That's not going to change next year. So I expect them to be paying, maybe not top dollar, but, a good pretty penny for sure. I think it just depends on the guy. Obviously, it has to be a good fit for both sides. Can you run on the schedule and hear what you have to say about the teams we play and what you expect? Yeah, man, let me do that. And if you guys haven't already, I already did a Bengals prediction video where I literally did what I'm about to do. Went through every single game, predicted what's going to happen and, if the Bengals win or lose. And you guys also love that. That's one of my top videos. So go check that out after the stream if you haven't already. That was a good one. So we have – here, I can pull it up for you guys, actually. Let me do that for you. 1 second. Bengals schedule. Okay. Now, if I share my screen. Hold on 1 second. I should be able to pull this up for you real quick. How do I do this? Hold on, I'm trying to figure out how to pull up guys to see what I'm doing. I forgot how to do it. I think it's I think I can get it. We are going on an hour. That's crazy. Share screen. Yeah, there we go. Did that work? No, it didn't. What about now? Okay, well, that's a fail. So I'm going to try one more time. If I can get it for you this time, then I'm going to have to not be able to do it. All right. Well, I can't pull it up for you guys, so I'm not sorry about that. But I will through it real quick. So we'll start off in week 1 against the Chargers at home. For that one, I predicted a win just because Burrow's first NFL snaps, new look Bengals, a whole new dynasty looking through in this new decade of 2020 and above. I have it being a close game because the Chargers have a good roster this year in 2020. So don't sleep on the rosters. They are still a great team. Yeah, man, I still think it's going to be a close game, not a blowout at all. But I do see the Bengals pulling up. And I do think what would be cool for that first game, this might be imaginary, but if it comes down to last drive, Burrow comes in there and clutches it out to T. Higgins. That would be something else. If that happens or not, I do see them winning week 1. Now we go to week 2 against the Colts, also at home. Oh no. Where we at? No, my bad. So after week 1, we go week 2 to the Browns in Cleveland, which is going to be a good game in Cleveland. Now, I do have us splitting with Cleveland. I do think we can either take 2, but at least 1 for Cleveland. So I have us possibly losing in week 2 because it's going to be in Cleveland. It's late night. It would be one that I hope we could win, but I do think the odds are stacked against us considering how Baker Mayfield does this year. If he even has a decent year, I think the Browns can be pretty good just because of the roster they have on that team, which is, very talented. So I think we can win it, but I believe the odds are in week 2. Week 3, we go to Philadelphia, who is one of the hardest places to play in the entire NFL. Outside of Kansas City and, Foxborough, Philadelphia is a hard place to play. Even if they don't even have the most talented roster, they are never an easy place to win. So I do feel like it is one we can lose, one that we do have a chance to win, but I feel like we definitely have the bigger odds to lose at that game. Now, Crow said unpopular opinion, but I think we will upset Philly in week 3. It's a very difficult place to play, but the secondary is looking rough. Yeah, man, I'm not saying we will lose, but I'm saying the odds are against us, and we can win there. That would be a grind-out win. And if the Bengals won in week 3 in Philly, man, I don't know how the media could hate on us because that would be a big W for the Bengals. Going back to week 4, we head back home to Paul Brown Stadium against the Jaguars, and I do think we will win that with probably the easiest game on the schedule, if not so far for the team in the first 4 weeks. Then you move on to the Ravens in Baltimore, and I do think we're going to drop that game. Baltimore is just a very talented team, and with our young linebacking crew, I just don't think we'll be able to get after Lamar in time. You saw what Lamar did to us last year. Yes, it's a totally different team, but Lamar is that man. Even if you don't like the Ravens, you have to respect Lamar. He is that guy, and I do expect him to take that away from us. Then we go back to Indianapolis to play the Colts, and because we played them in preseason, so we'll play them now in Indianapolis, and that's going to be a tough game, but I do think we can win that one. I think it's a very winnable game. I think the Indianapolis are a good team. Phillip Rivers is on his last leg to prove, if he can get a ring on his finger, and so he's getting that with the Colts. But I just feel like the Bengals are going to be able to toughen that one out and get that W. Now, we go back home. We get our revenge against the Browns at home, and we get the W. If we lose at third place in week 2 under the lights, if we lose, we come back and get the W. At home this time, at this point of the year, we'll see the Browns. We will know what type of team the Browns is. We will know they're either, what everyone expected to be, a really good team, or they pull the Browns, and teammates are arguing, coaching staff is panicking, and the Browns turn into the Browns. That could happen by this time of the year, but no matter what it is, I think we'll be able to clutch that one out. Then we go into the next week against the Tennessee Titans against the Bengals, and I do think the Titans could beat us because of Derrick Henry. Now, I do know that our defensive line is monstrous, and I know we have a fantastic defensive line, but Derrick Henry is a man among boys. Now, the reason if we do win this game, it is because we put it in Ryan Tannehill's hands. If somehow, some way we can stop Derrick Henry and put it in Tannehill's hands, this is a very winnable game for Cincinnati because Tannehill is not that great, and I think he's overrated, and I think that contract is not what he's really worth. And I believe with our secondary, if we can force them to throw the ball, I feel like we could win that game. But if we can't stop Derrick Henry, it's going to be a long one. And that Tennessee defense is good as well. So I think it might be a long day for the offense, but we will see. It's a winnable game, but if we can stop Derrick Henry, we'll win. If we can't, we will lose that one. Then you got Bengals Steelers in Pittsburgh, and I think we're going to split with the Steelers this year. I do think we are going to beat them, but it's not going to be this one. It's going to be the fun one. I think, I never want to say as a Bengals fans, I think we'll lose because we, can win. But that's just a tough place to play, man. And like I said, Big Ben, he's running out of time. If he's going to want to, win a ring or get close to one, he doesn't have many seasons to do that. So I think it's going to be a close one. As always, it's usually always a close one with the Steelers. But I think the other game is more winnable, and I'll say that in a second. Then we got Bengals-Redskins at third place. I think the Bengals will win this one. Now, I do see some people saying the Bengals will lose this one because of, the defensive front the Redskins bring. But I just, if our offensive line can't hold up, should be able to win this game easy. But if our O-line can't hold up against the Redskins, it's going to be a long day for Joe Burrow. The Redskins front is probably the only good thing about that team. They have a great defensive line, and then you add Chase Young to that defensive line, which was already pretty good. That's a monstrous defensive line, and our O-line, they're hopefully by this time, November, end of December, we'll be able to tell what our offensive line is. If Jonah Williams, can bring the rest of the guys up with them and, play strong, we'll know by this time of the year. So I think we can win them, but our O-line just, they got to hold it up. Or that one might be a low-scoring game too. That might not be a high-scoring affair. Then we go on back home, and we play the New York Giants at home against Cincinnati. So I do have us beating the Giants. It's the Giants, man. It's hard to say. If you're, no matter what team you have in the league, if you say the Giants are going to beat you, that's pretty disturbing. I like Saquon, but I think with our defensive line, we'll be able to slow him down on the day. So I think we'll win that one. Then we got the Dolphins, one of the most fun games of the year. Our people are already talking about that. We got them in Miami. Burrow is going to beat Tua, and we're going to grab that W as well. It's going to be a fun one to watch, Burrow versus Tua. And I think we'll be able to beat them out. They're young. They're just as young as us, if not younger. And I think that's one of the games where we actually might have an older team, and we're going to be able to put that to use. Cowboys-Bengals, I think we're going to drop that one. Steelers-Bengals, 8:15 under the lights, 12/21/20, right before Christmas. Oh, Christmas is going to come home. Santa's going to come home to Cincinnati this year and deliver some presents because they're going to deliver a WHODEY W against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Even if we lose the first game against the Steelers, as long as we get this win against them, oh boy, is that one going to feel good for us. Oh, man. If there's one game I wish that we could win this year, it's that one, man. Let us get some Christmas presents this year and beat the Steelers right before Christmas. Then we play the Bengals and Texans at 12:27. Winnable game. I don't know if we'll win. It's going to be a close matchup. Houston, even though they traded away DeAndre Hopkins, they're still a legit team and a legit roster. And it's a tough place to play as well in Houston. Then to end off the year at the Ravens. And honestly, I don't know. The Ravens can sweep us easily, but at the same time, we can split by them by winning this game. But let's say the Ravens already clinched the playoffs. They might not even be playing their starters this game. But if the Bengals are in contention, then they have to. So I think that game is a toss-up depending on where we are in the year and where the Ravens are. The Ravens could have clinched the playoffs by that game, so they might not start the players. But if Bengals are contention, they still might. I don't know. It's going to be a tough one. So that's a quick run-through of what I think. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know. Pro said on a pop about week 3. Yeah, I get that, man. Drake said, what should we expect in Waynes and Alexander? From what I've seen, Waynes is a Kirkpatrick-type player that can tackle. Yeah, so they're both not game-changing players as of right now in their career. They stepped up on the Minnesota Fighting Vikings and did their thing when, Xavier Rhodes really fell off the face of the earth. Mike Hughes, got injured. They stepped up and did their thing. And I think with the contracts they got signed to in Cincinnati, they're going to be a heck of a player, and they're going to get the value out of those contracts. I do expect him to, take up a lot of playing times, take up a lot of downs, get some pass deflections, maybe a few interceptions, a few turnovers. But, what you need to expect of those guys are guys to go out there and fight, going to go toe-to-toe to anybody and everybody they have to. Those guys might not be Pro Bowlers. Maybe they will be. They might not be, but they should go toe-to-toe with anybody in the league and put up a fight. And that's what I expect out of them. Yeah, I think a faster, younger version of Kirkpatrick from what I've seen. Also, he's a tackler. That is something Kirkpatrick was horrid at. Yeah, agreed. He is definitely a good tackler, and I don't think there's a worse tackler than Dre Kirkpatrick. Yeah, I actually did see this. So Crow said, do you see the Ravens are talking about AB? Scary thought. I did, and it is a very scary thought. Look, I don't like Antonio Brown. I don't like the things he's done in his past. Yes, everyone makes mistakes, but he's made a lot of them. And I don't think he's going to be in the NFL. I don't think he will be back in the league. But let's say, per se, he does, and he goes to the Ravens. Yes, that is going to be horrific, and the Ravens might get a Super Bowl out of that. If not, they should at least make the game. Look, if you don't like Antonio Brown or not, he is a heck of a ball player and should be a Hall of Famer, even though he might have ruined that. Yeah. If AB went to the Ravens, imagine what that game would be like against the Steelers. He'd be playing the Steelers twice a year, if not more. So, yeah, that's a scary thought. And I still think, even if he went on an NFL team today, I still think he would be fantastic. I don't think anything would change that quickly. You see the videos that are posted of him and how good he still looks. I think if he still went on a team, he might not be the 100% what he was, but he's still going to be a heck of a ball player. I'm back. I think the Bengals go 8 or 10-6 at best, and I think minimal 6-6. But I think the Bengals, in my mind, I think we can go 8-8. Yeah, man. I said no less than 5 wins, no less than 5, and I said I think no more to 8-10 is what I said in my prediction video. Because in my prediction video, I wasn't 100% win-loss. I was kind of like, they could do this or it could go like this. Just because I don't want a lot of fans to get mad at me if I say they're going to lose that game. And you guys are like, what? We can win that? Because every game is winnable. I agree. And, the Bengals usually can hold games to a pretty close score. And then into the quarter or third, fourth, gets to the second half, third, fourth quarter rolls around. It's game-changing. So my man Jerry said, who do you think will start on the offensive line? Obviously Jonah Williams, and we got to see what the rest of the guys, man. I mean, I don't even know if I can name them off one by one. I mean, there shouldn't be too many changes from last year besides Jonah Williams. And then if anybody out-battles anybody from, obviously from, training and preseason, there shouldn't be too many changes. I just looked up Bengals, and one of the things that popped up are saying Joe Burrow, AJ Green still trying to plan off-season workouts after 4th of July. So that's a good news. That they can get together and start getting some reps in. Joe Burrow, AJ Green get some reps in. That's nice. Love to see that. Also, something saying, not going to touch that. That's for another day. Drake said AB is a nutcase. Yes, I don't know if he would do more better or more damage for your team. Drake said, do we call Price a bust at this point? It is too early. Kind of like with the John Ross thing. It is too early. But once he's either A, off the team, B, contract expires, or C, isn't in the league anymore, then that's when you can say. Is it heading towards that way? More than likely. It's heading towards that way. But could it be turned around? Absolutely. But, we'll see. We'll see. 6-10. Yeah, man, I said at least 5 wins. I expect 5 wins. I expect we get. I mean, at least 5-6 was what I would be looking at. But anywhere around 8. Even if we end the season with 8 wins, guys, that's a big plus. That's 6 more wins than the year before. That's a ton of wins to turn around and get. I obviously see Cincinnati fans, if they're delusional or not, or if they're just super excited, they say Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl. Probably not, man. break it to you, probably not. There's teams like that have Patrick Mahomes and loaded rosters that just have a lot more talent than what the Bengals do right now. And if you like it or not, the Bengals have a ton of untapped potential that needs to be tapped into. They need to get on the field. They need to, see NFL coverages. They need to go against NFL, level talent. And that's what we're kind of waiting for. And that's why I feel like a lot of people should be excited for the 2020 season, because you're going to be able to see these rookies, so, have big plays, but also, make mistakes. We're going to be able to start, really starting to analyze all these rookies and all these new players on the team, see what they're good at, see what they need to work on, and, see what makes them stand out on the Bengals. So that's a big reason why I'm really, excited for. Adrian said, I think it should be Williams at left tackle, Michael Jordan at left guard, Trey Hopkins at center, who I think is underrated. Right guard, I think will be Safio. Can't say that. Then Bobby Hart at right tackle. Yeah, man, I honestly don't know what it is, nor do I care, as long as it works and these players can improve. What's the oldest guy on that offensive line? Are they all? They're all really young, aren't they? Is there an old guy on that line? How old's Trey Hopkins? Trey Hopkins is 27, so he should be his prime. So maybe he'll step up. We'll see, my man. He said probably Hart is the oldest. How old? Bobby Hart. Bobby Hart's 25, so he's at least the second oldest or third. Jerry said Cincy Bengals are listed for a good spot for Colin Kaepernick. Yeah, man, I saw that, and that's kind of the thing I said I don't want to talk about. But, that would be interesting. I still think he should go to the 49ers, but, the thing with Colin Kaepernick, why I don't think he'd fit for Cincinnati, is because I believe Colin Kaepernick wants to be a starter. You know what I mean? And that's just not going to happen. He's not even going to compete with Joe Burrow, because the Bengals have moved on from Andy Dalton and have decided that their future is going to rely on Joe Burrow. So I feel like even if he doesn't get a starting job, he's going to want to compete. And I'm going to be honest, the Bengals aren't going to be competing with anybody with Joe Burrow. It's not going to happen. So I could see him going somewhere like the Bills. He can compete with that guy. He's not going to compete with Joe Burrow, unless the Bengals show otherwise. Rob Gronkowski said, how do you think Ross will perform with the new offense this year? I think it can benefit Ross a lot, and I think it was going to benefit him last year until he got injured. I think that's why I made that John Ross video I think last week, a couple days ago. I just made that John Ross video because I believe this year can benefit from him. If the Bengals run a lot of 4-out and possibly some 5-out, yeah, AJ Green, Auden Tate, T. Higgins, all guys at 6'4" and over, then you throw John Ross in there. You're going to need a speed guy like that. And, I think Joe Burrow is going to get the ball out of his hands quick, because that's what the Bengals are going to want him to do. And I feel like that's one of the guys he can get the ball quickest to, just because he's the fastest. So, I think that's why he could benefit, but we'll have to see. Man, how long will we have to wait to get a ring? I don't know, man, but I know Joe Burrow will bring us one. I'll answer it that way. It will be under Joe Burrow. Easy Gaming said, I don't think the Bengals will be Super Bowl contending team until we fix the O-line and players get to know each other better and the defense can prove they can be great. Yeah, man. I think it might, even if it takes a year, 2 or 3, it might have to. And even if it does, whatever these guys get together and build upon is going to, be the end of that discussion when it does happen. But a lot of these guys have never played with each other before. Haven't even taken NFL snaps before, haven't started in the NFL game. So, all these guys haven't played a lot of football in the NFL. So you're right, it might be until then, and it might be until our offensive line can improve. We don't know. And that's what's fun about sports and football. the predictions and the guessing and the expect, what you expect. So we need a better right tackle. I don't think Hart will work as a starter. I think we need a better everything besides Jonah Wilson. Williams, excuse me. I just believe that come training camp season and preseason, we will see who are the true starters and who hold their spot down for sure. And how many players that will be. It might be 0. Maybe it's just Jonah Williams. We will see who will be on that team in the future, or whether just a 1-year guy. We're going to get a draft his replacement next year. We're going to go find him in free agency next season. So we'll see. Yeah, I agree with this one. Josh Jones, and that's why it was even talked about when it was going to be him or T. Higgins. Everyone's like, Josh Jones, Bengals are going to they're going to go O-line here. And then boom, nowhere, T. Higgins. So, yeah, I mean, Josh Jones, we were talking about taking him in that second pick. So, but it is what it is, and I think we got T. Higgins. Jerry said, I think it should go to Chicago Bears. Yeah, man, he can compete there. Mitchell Trubisky is not it. And I think I think Colin Kaepernick possibly could be. So, even though he's been out of football, for a while, the talent is still there, but we'll just have to see if he's rusty or not. I just think if he goes back to the NFL, we'll have to be on a team that competes. H. Huss said, do you watch baseball? Not a ton. I definitely watch more basketball and football than baseball, but I still go to Reds games and keep updated with the Reds as much as possible. But I'm definitely football first, second basketball, and third baseball. But I definitely support my Reds. If it's outside the Reds news, then I probably don't know it unless it's national media. Just keeping it real. But, the baseball has just kind of been a dried up topic just because of, the disappointment kind of going on with, possibly not having a season. I saw something saying that Burrow can break Baker's rookie touchdown record. Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier, man. He definitely can. Depending on how much when we get to the red zone, if we're rushing a lot, if we're throwing it a lot, you have 3 guys over 6'4" just in the receivers alone. We're not even talking about tight ends. We're talking about quick guys who are receivers. AJ Green, Auden Tate, and T. Higgins. At least once a red zone drive, should they just toss it up to one of the 3 guys and just see if they can go get it? Once. Like, dude, the percentage of one of them going up and getting it is so high because they're not going to have, these teams aren't going to have tall secondaries to keep up with 3-4 guys over 6'3", 6'4", 6'5". So, I think the touchdowns can come. But what if we decide to punch in a lot when we get in there? Do we want to see if Joe Mixon can be durable and punch it in there a lot? Maybe. And then Speedy John Ross with the slant across the middle over to the side of the end zone. Possibility, man. And then obviously Tyler Boyd doing all he can. Depending on the tackle out of Kansas should be the answer. But yes, man, but he's a later draft pick, so you can't rely on a 5th, 6th draft pick to, come in and start right away. That's something that's going to be years down the road. And you guys have to understand, yes, that's okay if it's years down the road, but the Bengals might not win till years down the road then. I get that they're trying to build the youth and start building a new team and all that stuff, which I highly appreciate because of my, we're young. I'm young. So I appreciate that. But yeah, unless they want an offensive line right now, late round picks most likely aren't going to be the guys day one. Jerry said you should collab with Stripe City. We can see. I don't know too much about New Stripe City. I believe they're also on YouTube as well. And some people have said some stuff about what they got going on there. I really don't like how many fierce pass rushers we have to face this year. Our line is not ready, and I'm low-key scared of Joe. This is a very real statement. I feel like a lot of Bengals fans trying to, push this to the side, but no, we need to not do that because this is real and this is reality and this can happen. Like I said, that Washington game, man, the Redskins aren't a top competitor, but man, do they have some beasts on that defensive front. And so do a lot of other teams. The Steelers, a lot of these teams, TJ Watt, a lot of these teams have guys that are going to be coming after him. And we gotta focus on the O-line. That's why I know a lot of people say that, good thing we got linebacker, which is true, but we'll see what this offseason brings with offensive line. I do expect us, if there's some guys out there in the offseason, to maybe sign a guy or two. Maybe trade for a guy or two. We'll see. Because, yes, the draft works, but with offensive linemen, not many guys, unless you're using a first, second, or maybe even third-round pick, are they going to be day one. And with what the Bengals players have right now for the offensive line, they're probably competing. That Kansas tackle might compete for a spot. You know what I mean? So, but that's just the Bengals offensive line, man. That's just one of the things the Bengals are going to have to work on. And will work on. You got to give it time. You know what I mean? That's not something that's going to change overnight. But that's very real. Hey, says, this is out of topic from the Bengals, but why do you think baseball interest in America has fallen so much in the last 40 years? The games are too long. That's honestly. Look, man, as a kid that grew up on basketball and football and baseball, a little bit of baseball, football games, besides commercials, it's all 100% action-packed. Hits, throws, touchdowns, interceptions, picks, fumbles, whatever. 110% of the time. There's rarely any breaks unless there's an injury or it's commercial break. Basketball, the only breaks you get are timeouts. Baseball, you got to wait between batters. You got to wait between outs. You got to wait between innings. I feel like there's a lot of pauses in baseball, and the game's a lot lower, a lot slower sped, which, younger people with social media and so much going on, probably don't prefer that as much as something that's 110% action-packed all the time. I feel like that's one big reason. I feel like another second reason is seasons are super long. You only get so much of the NFL that when the offseason hits, you are craving for the next season to roll around. I feel like baseball, the season hits, offseason, it's like, whew, okay, finally some baseball breaks. What else is on? NBA Finals? So I feel like that's another reason. I feel like there's a whole bunch of reasons. I think a big reason for some people are that the drafts are long and a lot of players don't be known. Where the NFL draft, almost every single prospect that your team's getting. NBA rolls around, every single prospect, or you probably do if you watch college basketball. And I feel like baseball, you're getting guys all across the country, all across the world that you probably don't know about. I think that's the reason you don't know a lot of the prospects. You don't know a lot of backstories. I feel like there's many reasons why baseball has fallen. And I can see why, honestly. Just because I've been growing up on basketball and football. So that's how I feel about baseball. I still love baseball. I still think it's a fantastic sport. And last season, I went to, at least 10 Reds games. So I go to games. I enjoy it. It's just for baseball, for me, I definitely enjoy it a lot more in person than on TV. When I'm in person, I enjoy myself at the Red Stadium having a good time. But when it's on TV, man, I might take a nap in between the second and, fifth innings. So that's how I feel about that. Great question, H. Sure, he will unlock the Browns at the time. We have weapons unlocked. The Baker had his first season. That's also why I got mad at people. Say, bro, I'll waste his career. Don't even want to get into that topic. The game I'm most excited for is week 2, Baker versus Burrow. That's going to be a fun one, man. That's going to be a fun one to see all the Burrow doubters and haters versus the Baker Burrow doubters and haters. You know what I mean? You got a lot of people saying Burrow's going to be a bust, and you have a lot of people saying Baker is a bust. And you have the two colliding. It's going to be a fun one to watch, man. I'm really excited, and I know there's going to be a lot of tension going on in that game because obviously Burrow wants to be that guy and Baker wants to be that guy. And they both have weapons. They both have weapons on both teams, and they're divisional. So let's say Burrow turns out to be that guy and Baker turns out to be that guy. These guys are going to play against each other for at least a decade, if not more. You know what I mean? So if Baker turns out to be that guy and Burrow turns out that guy, these guys are going to go head-to-head for a long time. And same thing with Lamar. Those three guys lock down their teams for over a decade plus, where those guys will see each other for a long time. And then obviously we don't know about the Steelers because Big Ben doesn't have that long, and Mason Rudolph is not the answer. Although I wish he would. I wish they would stick with him. Oop, I skipped one. Do you think the Steelers will be better on offense or worse? I think they'll be better. Just Big Ben, everything he's accomplished in his career. But I don't expect him to be great, is my answer. I expect him to be better, but not great. I think if the Steelers have success this season, it's found because of their defense holding them to, not a lot of points scored games. And because of that, their offense doesn't have to do too much. Drake Berry said the line is one of the only positions that we could take a late round pick, a starter day one. Yeah, I agree. Adrian said, "Well, I'm going to head out. Thanks for the time. Have a good one." Hey, I appreciate you, Adrian, for all your support you've had for me lately and tuning into all the streams. You have a great day and a good weekend, man. Hashtag Road to 1K. You already know, man. I appreciate you tuning in so much, man. See you the next stream or on Saturday. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate all the love. EG Gaming said, "What players do you think Taylor's added for Burrow?" Oh, you said plays, not players. Well, I think we could see a lot of 4-out and a lot of 5-out this season. Have a 4-out where you have, Bernard possibly going out there setting blocks, Mixon sitting out there for blocks or receiving. And then that guy we got from the XFL, it's 6'3", who can easily step in there and take a few hits for us if we need him to. So I think we'll see a lot of 4-out with the back in the field, and then some 5-outs too. And I do expect a lot of screen plays. If not screenplays, a lot of slants, a lot of short route plays that can get the hand out of Burrow, get the ball out of, Burrow's hands quick. That's what I expect. And Zach Taylor, there's a reason the Bengals got him. Second youngest coach in the NFL and an offensive guy. He's going to have some stuff up his sleeve, and I'm ready for it. Crow Snap 1 said, "I couldn't agree more. It's foolish to keep drafting linemen and expecting them to be instant starters. Free agents, way to go." That's what I'm saying, man. You can only do so much through the draft. And the draft, there's a lot less draft bust than the agency bust, in my opinion. And most of the time when it's a free agency bust, it's not so much the play, it's so much how much they got paid. Agree with you on that. Jerry said, "I'm going to watch the Monday night against the Steelers." Man, that's going to be a good one. Whew. Hey, that's going to be a good one, man. I cannot wait. I'm thinking about maybe doing some live streams during the end of the game or before the game or both or whatever. And that's going to be a good one, man. There's going to be a lot of fights, a lot of tension, and a lot of WHODEYs and a lot of towels, some ugly towels rolling around. So, fun one to watch. Yeah, week 1 is going to be a fun one to watch, for sure. But here's my question. Is Justin Herbert starting, or is it Tyrod Taylor, Drake? You know what I mean? I don't think they've decided yet, but do you see Tyrod Taylor starting and then Herbert taking over? I think we have a better chance to win if Herbert is starting. My opinion. H said, "I remember they talking on ESPN about suggesting first and second divisional structure like European soccer, NFL first division, XFL second division would be interesting." That would be crazy, man. But if you want to be honest, the NFL is not sharing the spotlight. Just not happening. NFL is too big. It's been around too long. The NFL is not sharing no spotlight with nobody. That'd be cool. Yeah, I agree, EJ. Herbert might not be the starter. We don't know. Drake, man, come on. I appreciate you being here at work, but come on now. Make that money, boy. What's up, Kotzi? How you doing, buddy? Thanks for joining the streams. Good seeing you, buddy. Thanks for stopping in. Jerry said something I like to see. "Just subbed, and I'm enjoying the stream." Thank you much. Thank you so much, Jerry. I really appreciate that. And if you haven't already, if you just subbed, after the stream, whenever you get time, go check out my plethora of videos I've already done, all on the Cincinnati Bengals and Cincinnati sports in general. You have a ton of videos to catch up on and a lot of great content, especially the one I dropped earlier if you didn't tune in for that one. Overall, I can see us being a sleeper team. Yes, because we can do this because everyone is doubting us. When everybody is doubting your team, it makes it easier for you guys to be a sleeper team. I agree, Drake. 915 and counting. Hashtag road to 1K. Hey, man. You already know. You already know. Hey, we're getting close to 1K, my man. We are getting close. Jerry said Kotzier Fesh, and it bumped up to 916. So I think I know what that means. So thank you, Jerry. What are your thoughts on the CFL CB we signed? He seemed to be fairly good future in the CFL, and is there nowhere close to the NFL? Yeah, man. The CFL, it's so hard to tell what a player's going to turn out to be in the NFL. Coming from leagues like that, just like the XFL, AFL, whatever FFL has came out in the past 2 decades or whatever, all these new leagues they're trying to create. I don't know. I honestly haven't read too much on him, if you want me to be quite honest. What's his name? If you can give me his name, I'll see if I can do some more research on him. Bengals pick off CFL interception leader. Picked up the Canadian football leading interceptor Tuesday. He won a championship? He turned 26. So, I mean, he's 26, man. So he's going to have to come in and deliver. And he's going to be fighting for a secondary spot, that's for sure. But we can use playmakers. So even if he's a nickel cornerback or whatever it may be, but he can go in there and, make some plays for us. That'd be tight, man. That'd be tight. For sure. I'm planning on going to the Monday night game. Man, who isn't? It's going to be a good one to watch on TV. And if you're in person, whew, you better get ready for that voice to be gone at that end of the game. So that's going to be a good one to go. I think Herbert, as you don't draft someone at 6 and not start. Hey, I agree. I just don't know how they tell Tyrod Taylor, hey, man, thanks for coming, but yeah, take the back seat for me, bud. You know what I mean? There at least has to be a fight for the spot. And I'm sure there will be in preseason and, training camp. I agree with you. If I'm drafting someone at 6, he's playing day 1. But I don't know. We'll see. Because it also depends what kind of offense they want to run. Because, those are 2 totally different quarterbacks. Kachi said, I'm on Discord right now, and I love to pop in and talk with you in the fans for a bit. I don't know how to do – I don't really do Discord, Kachi. I'm going to be honest with you. And I'm on a new streaming service called StreamYard that I literally just got yesterday or the day before. So I'll read up on that, on how to do a joint stream, and that's possibly something we could do in the future. I'd be down for. I'm just not a big Discord guy. I probably should be. Bengals have everyone against them like the Ravens had a couple years ago. And not just the Ravens. There's teams all across the year, all across, the years past where there's been teams that have been highly doubted and have, fought off that doubt. And I think the one that could be next is the Browns. They had so much doubt, and everyone's just waiting, like just poking the Browns like, hey, man, when are you guys going to do something? They're just not. So I think the Browns could be up next. I think the Bengals could be up next. There's plenty of teams. I feel like the Bills could be up next. They have a lot of doubters and haters. So I think it's definitely up for it's a toss-up in the air. And there's each year, like I said, there's always teams getting doubted. And the Bengals are definitely one of them. So, but yeah, the Ravens, man, just a couple years ago, old Joe Flacco getting injured. Then you bring in Lamar. You know what I mean? So it was a whole new transition for Baltimore. And they look at them now. So pretty good transition. Jerry said you are underrated. You need more support. That's where you guys come in. Shout me out. Send me to your friends. All my social media is right here. Instagram is Drew_Collins11. And then my Twitter is Drew_Collins11 as well. And if you can't see it very well, go in the description below and all my social media is there. I usually do like Instagram stories, Snapchat, stuff like that to shout out my stuff. Same thing on Twitter. So that's where you guys come in. Shout me out, man. Get me closer to 1K. Would love for that. I'm grinding. Winston Rose. Yeah, I got a Bengals article right here on him. Seems like a pretty cool guy. I think I'm gonna. There we go. Why is that not working? Okay. Yeah, I mean, he seems like a pretty cool guy. I'm not gonna lie. He also had 5 the year before for British Columbia. The guy seems like more of a playmaker for anything, so I guess that's kind of what the Bengals are looking for. So maybe he'll turn out. I mean, he's 26, so it would have to be pretty recent for him to do it, as he's probably in his prime. Joseph said, will we see more Auden Tate? He's a monster. Hopefully, man. But the thing is, with bringing in T. Higgins, there's a lot more competition for Auden Tate. Whereas last year, A.J. Green went down, and basically him and Tyler Boyd stole the show. So I think he'll definitely be in there because he'll be running a lot more, schemes where there's 4 out and 5 out. So I definitely think we'll see more of him for sure. But it's going to be up to him if what battles he wins in practice and, and during the field to see how much more we get to see of Auden Tate. Because if you put Auden Tate on another team right now, he's probably getting more playing time than he does on Cincinnati. Good question. Yeah, man, I bring in all your vids. It's great to see someone supporting the Bengals, and you're not too biased, which is very rare for any sports content creator. It's what I said that in the very beginning when I decided I'm going to do this. I'm going to be biased. It's just going to be me. But at the same time, I'm going to try not to be. Most of the times, and when I am biased, I'm going to try to say, hey, guys, this might be a biased one. This might be a biased take. But most of the time, I keep it real. I love my Bengals. I want to do great. I love Cincinnati. But at the same time, you got to be real to make it out there. I'm so tired of these big guys who, have big followers, but they're just so biased on what they believe, teams they like and teams they don't like. And it's just frustrating. And I feel like at the same time, for some Bengals fans, it's kind of hard for them to support me because I'm not very biased. They want me to say that the Bengals are going to get 10 wins. But realistically, it's not most likely going to happen. A lot would have to happen in order for that to happen this year. So I really appreciate that, man. I'm glad you do see that in me. I appreciate you, Yahtzee. I'll get with you after then. Appreciate that, man. If Zach is smart, Auden Tate should primarily be a red zone threat similar to how Eifert was. I agree. I mean, Eifert was a tight end, so it makes more sense. Tight ends usually are primarily used in the red zone. But as a wide receiver, I do think Auden Tate should be more of primarily a red zone threat. 6'5", he's bigger than any receiver out there, and he's bigger than any corner, or any secondary person. So I agree. If we see a lot of Auden Tate, it should be in the red zone, and it should be him getting 6 points. I totally agree with that. He should be getting a lot of 6 points this season. Yeah, Drake, that's something I want to do for the future. I'm going to be honest, I definitely want to hit 1K before I start doing a lot of mixes with a lot of people. But once I get settled and people start, getting to know DCTV for Cincinnati, especially when it gets closer to the season, I would love to bring in, a lot of fans, a lot of supporters, and a lot of people who know me, bring them into the chat for a live stream or whatever and just have, talk it out. Have you guys ask us questions and we can both answer them. I'm trying to get settled in first, trying to get everyone to know me. And then once, Cincinnati really realizes who DCTV is, I would love to bring in a lot of people to the show and have you guys a part of it as well. So definitely something I'm down for the future. Do you think Drew Sample can make plays? I don't know, man. For tight ends, it usually takes some time to develop in the league. Not many tight ends at a young age have shown, a really potential. Not really, that's technically potential, but not many young tight ends in the league have made a reckon with at a young age. If you've seen tight ends, even really good ones in the league, they probably weren't as a standout player as they were when they were younger. So I still think that, Drew Sample will have to take some time, but could he be replaced in the offseason? Yeah. I mean, depending on how he does this year. And, we might not run as many tight end sets as we've done in the past with Zach Taylor and with this offensive crew we have and the receiver crew we have. There might not be a lot of plays for him. It might be more blocking. I'm sure there are going to be plays, but, he might be out there blocking for him most of the time. We will have to see. Jerry said, what do you think of the defensive line? Defensive line is one of the best in the National Football League this year, and we're going to prove that to the national media. That is a future video idea coming soon. Shout out to Drake. He was someone who gave me some inspiration about it. But, yeah, a video coming soon about our defensive line. I already did one about the defense, and it did really good. It's almost at 2K views right now. But I'm going to do one about the defensive line, just defensive line. But, man, that one is going to be a huge one. Not going to lie. And I think defensive line is going to really shock and turn a lot of people's heads. With Carlos Dunlap and Geno Atkins really, bringing that veteran presence and having the rest of these young guys go out there. DJ Reader, Sam Hubbard, all these guys coming out there, man. I think the defensive line is really underrated, and it's going to do a lot of work this season. Do you think Adam Thielen will have more yards than any of the Bengals wide receivers? Yes, but not all of them. You keep it real. That's why I follow you, man. I try. I try to keep all my news infotainment. So, you're entertained, but it's also info, and it's also real info and good takes. Every content creator out there is going to have a bad take, but I try not to have any. Crow said top 10 D-line easy. Easy. I agree with this. And imagine if in the offseason our linebackers grow and we could bring in a stud at linebacker. Imagine if the Bengals did that. I'm talking no top 15 linebacker. I'm talking a top 10 plus linebacker who is a freaking beast. That would be amazing. What is your top 10 Bengals players of the year? Geno Atkins, Carlos Dunlap, AJ Green, Joe Burrow. Hopefully, who am I trying to think of? Hold on. Joe Burrow, AJ Green, Joe Mixon. Who are the players I just said? Now I'm forgetting all of them. Geno Atkins, Carlos Dunlap, Joe Burrow, AJ Green, Joe Mixon. I said maybe DJ Reader. Maybe. Hopefully Jonah Williams. I want Jonah Williams to be one of them because that means he's doing his thing and he's popping off and doing what he should do. Probably Von Bell. Trying to think what else. Tyler Boyd. That's probably almost 10, if not 10. I forgot Jesse Bates. Hopefully William Jackson too. If William Jackson can up his game, that would be fantastic. That's what Bengals need him to do. Yeah, man, that would be good. That would be a good time to do that. And Logan Wilson can probably be a better player than Virgil. I really think he can be. So I really think he can be a better player than what he was. Maybe not season 1, but seasons down the road, definitely could see it. Who has the best chance of winning the 1v1 versus battle if AJ Green is doubled? Who's the best chance of winning? You mean like AJ Green or the defender? AJ Green. But if you mean like another receiver, then probably either Alden Tate in the end zone or T. Higgins. Or no, let me take that back. Tyler Boyd probably. But I'm confused on what you mean. Who has the best chance of winning the 1v1 battle if AJ doubled? Oh, okay. I totally get the question now. It went over my head. So if AJ Green's doubled and that leaves somebody wide open, Tyler Boyd's probably the second greatest chance of getting the ball right after AJ Green, just because he just had 90 receptions a few years ago and 76 receptions. So that ball is probably going to Tyler Boyd right out of his hands. But, I mean, if not, you probably have a T. Higgins who's open or Auden Tate who, same thing with A.J. Green. If it's 2v1, he might be up there and grab that ball. So I think all the receivers are capable of 1v1s with their size. But most likely Tyler Boyd's getting the ball. I'm not too fond of Sample. He's a block first tight end. Yes, but that could be handy for the Bengals. Bengals don't need every single player on the offense to be a playmaker. You know what I mean? I feel like that's kind of a part of why the Browns are struggling, because they have too many playmakers. They need players who are just going to go play by play and not, want the ball every play. So I feel like having players like Sample, who is a block first tight end, can benefit the Bengals. We don't need a star, tight end to go out there and catch balls all the time. If we can have a guy go out there, do what he does, good blocker, decent route runner, maybe catch a ball a couple times a year, that's exactly what I need with our receiver core. Williams. I always say his name wrong. If I said it again, I don't know why I always get him mixed up. What was your thoughts on the scheme video recommendation I sent you? Let me go back. What's the scheme video? Was it about like the receivers? I'm confused on which ones you're talking about. But if it's about the receivers, then it's probably a good idea to run a lot of 4 or 5 outs. That's exactly what I'm thinking. Top 5 or top 3 D-line. I don't know about top 3 because there's still a lot they need to prove in themselves. But I would at least do a top 8 starting the league or starting the 2020 season and go from there. They could start at top 8 in the league, and then at the beginning of the season, and then at the end of the season, we could say, hey, they went from top 8 to top 3 or top 8 to top 5. You know what I mean? I just think they have a lot of slack to make up from the backers. Yeah, Roach, I was reading that too. That article was literally just talking about how many interceptions he got in the CFL. That whole article was like, yeah, he's a turnover machine. He led the league in interceptions, and that's why he's going to the Bengals. So, yeah, that guy, I don't know how much talent he has. I don't know how much it's going to transition to the league, because obviously the quarterbacks are of a heck of a lot better than the CFL. I mean, I'm sure the backups in the NFL are probably better than the CFL starters. Not too sure, but I mean, they're in the NFL for a reason. But if he can just come in and make half of those, a fourth, I think it probably is a worth it deal. I disagree, Jake. I think we should just stick Sample on the right side and just use him as an extra lineman. Exactly. I agree, Crow. And I also agree with this. I agree with both of you guys. It probably wasn't worth the second round pick, honestly. It could have been probably – I don't remember going back to that pick who else was on the board. I'm sure there was somebody better than him. But I do think, not having someone who can just block is a good thing. But I'm starting to understand why they made that pick. I get why they made that pick, but like I said, they didn't have to draft a blocking tight end at the second pick. There was probably a lot more talent on the pick, and I don't know when that Drew kid was supposed to go, but I'm sure if he's just a blocking first tight end, I'm sure he would have fell farther than a second tight end. Now, like I said, I don't remember that draft like it was yesterday, but yeah, I'm sure you can find a blocking tight end in free agency for cheap or in later rounds in the draft. You know what I mean? So, but we are now live for an hour and 15 minutes, 10 minutes away for 2 hours straight of being live here on YouTube. So if you're still in the stream and you are enjoying yourself on this fine Tuesday evening, make sure you leave a like right now and hit that subscribe button as we are on road to 1K. Thank you very much for everyone being in here. If AJ were to get hurt again, do we let him walk? You throw him a contract, but nothing crazy. You throw him a contract that will end his career as a Cincinnati Bengal, but it will not be the contract he wants, and yes, he would probably then walk. I think the Bengals will throw him a contract no matter what. I just think it's a contract that he's not going to want. But at that point, if he's not accepting the Bengals contract, he might get more somewhere else. But does he not? Does he want to end his career somewhere else? We will have to see. I'm going to go ahead and hold this up for 1 minute because hashtag road to 1K. That is what we are on right now and on our way to. So, yes, sir. Dude. Hold on, guys. Give me 1 second. All right. Drake, you resent it in the Instagram DMs. Let me check it out. Give me 1 second, guys. 1 second. Okay, let me check out the DM. Running over on what you think will run, what players to watch out. Yeah. That's a good idea, Drake. So basically, we could do a video on that. Basically, just me previewing schemes the Bengals could possibly run and how I think they'll be productive and why they should run it. I just feel like that's a lot easier to talk about on stream than making a whole video out of, especially when I'm only posting twice a week. And if I'm doing streams more than that, I feel like the video should be more of a prominent idea where I can literally just talk schemes with you guys on live. But not a bad idea. I'll definitely put that in my notes. I'm a Vikings fan, and you guys will enjoy Wayne's. And Alexander is a beast. I think Alexander will be in the top 10 Bengals players from the earlier question. Nice take, Skull. Appreciate it. Yeah, Wayne's is a beast. And the duo of them together makes it even better. They got them packaged together and sent over to Cincinnati. And it's a big loss for the Vikings because they stepped up a lot when they were there. And the Vikings need corners with Mike Hughes being injury prone and with Xavier Rhodes dropping off the face of the earth. Letting those two guys go for literally nothing. The Bengals got them for so cheap. That is a big loss in the Vikings. And I don't know if they just didn't want to stay in Minnesota with the situation going on in the secondary, or if the Vikings didn't offer them a deal because they didn't have to offer them too much to stay on that team because the Bengals didn't give them big deals and they still came. So I think they will help the Bengals improve a lot this season. All right. We are 5 minutes away from 2 hours live here on YouTube. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that comment section and tell me what you're thinking about here on the pod or on YouTube. Just tell me what you're thinking. If you have any questions for me about anything sports related or about me, go ahead and put them in that comment section right now. I am going to go grab my Gatorade, which is right outside my door, real quick. That was kind of useless. Useless. That was my first time using that. I thought it covered the whole screen. Didn't even cover half of it. EG Gaming said, if we get a top 10 draft pick, who would you look at? Well, offensive line or I think a playmaking corner. Don't know any names of many players as of yet because we still have a whole college football season to go through. But I think we need a game changer on the defensive side, like a secondary corner piece for the future. And I mean a good corner. I mean a top 2, top 3 corner coming out of college football that could make an impact day one and already fight with the guys that are already in contention of playing well. Or maybe trade back for offensive linemen. If we think there's no day one, contenders that can make plays, trade back, get an offensive lineman, because not all offensive linemen need to be drafted in the top 10. I mean, obviously, if there is a fantastic once-in-a-lifetime offensive lineman, then take them then and there, but you can always trade back and get some other extra draft picks, or maybe, a decent little player we can take in. Obviously, besides Joe Burrow at quarterback. Oh, my thing went off. Where's it at? There we go. That popped off. What is our best position? Probably receiver. I mean, depth. Are we talking depth or are we just talking one player? We're talking depth. Receiver is our most deep spot on a team for sure. Obviously, Joe Burrow has a lot to prove, but I think he's gonna have a pretty good rookie season. And then, I mean, if you look at the defensive line, we have great defensive tackles. You know, Geno Atkins and DJ Reader as a huge duo here in Cincinnati. That's gonna really pop off. And that's really good depth for the defensive tackle spot. So I'd probably say between those. And then you look at our safeties too. I mean, Sean Williams is a backup in the league, is a really good backup to have on the team. So I look at him and think that's really good. You got Jesse Bates, who's up and coming young guy. Von Bell, who we just acquired. So I think there's a lot of bright spots. But if we're looking at depth, I do think receiver and or defensive tackle. Greg said, I know we had mentioned and possibly getting someone in for an interview. Please try to get Wilson or Bailey due to the story. Yeah, that would be sick, man. I'll definitely possibly, once I hit 1K, maybe when I hit 1K, try to, DM those guys and try to get them on the show, even if it's just for a 5-10 minute segment. I would love to do that. Or if they want to join the live stream for a couple minutes, that'd be sick as well. If it's a video or a live stream, to get them on would definitely be really cool. And, cool thing to do for Cincinnati. I could definitely build up some questions. I saw big arguments going on in Twitter this past weekend over this statement right here. So the Browns were in there. Some Steelers tried to say something. And, I really don't think the Ravens receivers compete with us. But, you know what I mean? I could agree with this too. And, not trying to be biased, I do think no one competes with us. I mean, yeah, the Browns have playmakers. You got Odell. But, I think it's definitely between us and the Browns. And then, the Steelers got Juju. But I don't feel like they're as deep as we are. Now this, I don't know. Possibly. Because if we look at here. Let's see. I want to see if I can look up anything that's similar. Ranking every NFL Bleacher Report, ranking every NFL receiver corps heading into the 2019 season. So this was going into 2019. Let's see where they had the Bengals ranked. Obviously, it's better now, but they had the Ravens ranked 24th. They had I know how to put this on the screen. It's not working. I'm trying to figure this out. I don't. I'm trying to figure out, but Did I scroll past the Bengals? I'm confused. They had the Bengals ranked 14th last year. Heading into 2019, they had the Cincinnati Bengals ranked 14th last year. Now, above them was the Steelers at 13. Not true. Not this year. And then, who else? This year, I don't see these teams having... the Vikings make sense why they were above us last year, but not Diggs is gone. That's not true. The Saints make sense. They had the Browns at 4th heading into 2019, which, makes sense. Jarvis Landry and Odell, you would think, dude, those guys are going to have a monster season, and look what happened. And don't get me wrong, I like those guys. I think they have a lot of talent. So I think it's definitely between us and the Browns. Steelers third, Ravens fourth. But, I mean, imagine if the Ravens brought in Antonio Brown like we were speaking about earlier. That would be insane. I could not imagine. And they had the Atlanta Falcons at number 1. But Sanu's not on the team anymore. So I think there's some big changes to that schedule. Top 10? Yeah, because, I mean, if we're 14 last year, we're definitely top 10 this season. There's no way Bleacher Report made this 2019, and then they go to make another one 2020, and they don't have us at top 10. That might be a video alone. If Bleacher Report comes out and does that, and they don't put the Bengals in 2020, or put us in top 10 for 2020, disrespect. And and Jerry's right about this. You know, Odell is what? And I believe Jarvis Landry's right with him because they went to high school and college together. So, yeah, our guys, besides AJ, you know, Odell's 27 and so is Jarvis Landry. They're both 27. So, those guys right now are in their prime. So, you know, they got 3-4 more good years in them, healthy, if they're healthy, left to play, you know, good NFL football. So, you know, Baker has to make a move now because I highly doubt once those guys are gone that they'll be able to replace them better with more talent. There's no way you're telling me those two guys have a ton of talent and they're going to replace them with even better talent when they leave for Baker to deal with? No way. So if you know, Baker better use them while they're there. And we do now. But I think what we're trying to say is they are younger now, though. You know what I mean? They're not in their 27, 28. Obviously, besides A.J. Green, I believe Tyler Boyd's 24, 25 years old, and he's like the second oldest. I believe Auden Tate's right there with him. So, all right. It's been officially over 2 hours. 2 hours and 3 minutes has DCTV's been live. That's 3 back-to-back 2-hour live stream, guys. How do you guys like that? If we are not top 5, 6 to 7. I mean, as of right now, as there's no NFL play, I do think we're top 10. But to go higher than that, honestly, I got to see us play. I got to see some football action. I got to see if AJ can stay healthy. Because, you know, if AJ goes down again, that's going to hurt. You know, obviously, like I said before, I do know we have guys that step up. But, you know, national media is going to see that as something else as what we think. You know what I mean? I would love to see Gio get more involved this year. He's so fun to watch. And he might with the receiving game. I just think when it comes to the ground game, I don't think he'll ever get that spot back as long as Joe Mixon's on the field. Now, yes, I do agree that it is funny to watch little Giovanni Bernard run across the field against these 6'5" tackle defensive ends. You know what I mean? But I just don't think that ground game, he lost that. So the only way I feel like he's going to get involved are by screens. You know, if they run a 4-out and he's the one running back, so he can do a little scat run. You know, he can do little scat runs. He can do HB screens. He can do like little cross route stuff like that. I think he'll get more involved in. But when it comes to that running game, man, I think Joe Mixon has that all but sealed up. You know what I mean? Obviously, unless he gets fatigue and he needs to come take a breather. If Baker can't prove he can be great with OBJ and Landry, I think he might be a bust, just saying. I mean, I know you're just saying, but, dude, that guy has so much talent. I can't disagree with you. You know, Baker's name is so much in media, but you got to think it's because it's kind of scary that the Browns built that offense around him, and he still didn't adjust to anything. Now, let's just throw last away for the Browns and say, let's blame it on the coaching. Worst coach ever hired, worst decision for the Browns in a while. Which, yeah, hard to believe, right? But they're bringing in a guy from Minnesota and Kevin Stefanski, who is a fantastic offensive mind. And if he can't fix it, then Baker's not the guy. I'm telling you, this year is huge for Baker. because if he doesn't get it done this year, Kevin Stefanski's not going to mess around. And I'm not saying they're going to trade him or release him or get rid of him, but he will have competition at that spot next year. Remember Tyrod Taylor? And they said, oh, yeah, no, Baker's future. You can just, give him away. We don't need him anymore. Tyrod Taylor out of here. Just like that. If he does not prove himself this year, Kevin Stefanski will get a competition quarterback for him. Maybe a Ryan Fitzpatrick, someone of that nature, if not another young guy to compete. I'm telling you it's going to happen. Kevin Stefanski is a great offensive-minded coach, and it's a huge pickup for the Browns. I'm not going to lie. It's a huge pickup, and it's really going to affect Baker's future because within year one, he's going to know if Baker's the guy or not. If he does not prove himself this year, I promise you he'll have competition at the quarterback spot come 2021. I really like Kevin Stefanski. E.G. Gamington, I think hashtag road to 1K. I agree with you, man. Hashtag road to 1K. We are almost there. We got about 15 people live in the stream still at 2 hours and almost 10 minutes. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Like right now. Let's get a little like spike going on. I think we ended the pretty good like spike going on, so I really appreciate all that. So, yeah, 2 hours and 8 minutes. Thank you guys for still being in here. I really appreciate you taking your time out of this fine Tuesday evening and spending it with some, great people here celebrating Cincinnati. So, I guess, like I've been saying, it's slow in here with the questions and the comments. What do you guys think of today's video? You guys really haven't said much to say about it. So, I'll probably take a few more questions and I'll probably wrap it up here. So, a few more good questions and I'll probably wrap up the stream. I was expecting to go a little bit longer, but with, uploading today, I was kind of deciding if I should even stream because usually when I stream, I want to do it on days I don't upload. So at least you guys can come say what's up and speak some, sports. But had some free time on my hands today, and just decided to let you guys, come in here, ask some questions, have a good time. So I'll take about 1 or 2 more questions here, and we'll wrap it up after this 2 hours plus stream. Drake said it would be really nice if the national media would talk about us in a positive light, but I like the hate makes us better, I think. Well, I feel like with Andy Dalton, it didn't help, but I feel with Joe Burrow, it could just motivate his story even more. Joe Burrow is more of a light that fire, light that torch for him, and he will make it happen. It kind of speaks volume with his college, going to Ohio State, being benched, going to LSU, having a mediocre year, then boom, out of nowhere, all the motivation, all the hate, everything to him just built up, and boom, he came Joe Burrow. So I feel like, yes, it does stink, but I feel like it did not benefit Andy Dalton at all. I feel like if anything, it could have affected his game. Even though Andy Dalton was a great dude, had no on-field problems, and had not a single off-the-field problem in his career. Great guy, great human. But I feel like Joe Burrow is one of those guys where, yeah, you might want to motivate Joe Burrow, or you might not want to, because if you play him against that next week, he might be heated and he might be ready to throw 300 yards on you. EG Gaming said, I thought the video was really good. Appreciate that, man. Really appreciate that. All right, someone give me a big, juicy question to end off the stream here. Either a question or a statement. Let me hear it. Either about the Bengals, NFL, Reds, something. Let's get one more going in here. I'm going to go ahead and stop the music, too, while I'm at it. Because we're about to wrap it up. Okay. Kotzi said, Joe Burrow really playing some Madden in my career. Yeah, who isn't, right? Who isn't? And even if he is, I don't blame him. Drake said, at least after last season, I think Browns overpaid for OBJ, but I think he'll return to normal form, and part of it is Baker. I agree. I think OBJ is a heck of a receiver and still one of the best in the league. I know he got a lot of criticism and hate last season, especially from in the division I still think he's a great player, and I've always liked OBJ. I know he's had some, attacks where he's, kind of pouted and stuff, but I don't think that changes the player he is. And we'll see this season, definitely for the Browns. Jerry said, I feel like OBJ will demand a trade if Baker doesn't succeed in like 2 years. I wouldn't doubt it. OBJ wants to win a ring before his career is over, and he only has a few more years left, so I really don't doubt it. Or Jarvis Landry. Do you feel like the Bengals do good and get love more since these sports will be more popular? Yeah, I mean, I feel like to start a channel or to start as a content creator in a city where most of the time you're just getting criticized from national media is definitely a lot harder to start up, because usually the only love you're getting is from in that city. So I'm getting a lot of support from Cincinnati fans, but from outside of Cincinnati, I'm not getting that much support because Cincinnati's always looked down upon. But if Joe Burrow changes the culture, we really become a winning team, and everyone starts getting noticed by Joe Burrow and the Bengals. I feel like a lot more content creators are going to come up and start making YouTubes and websites and writers, just because it's easier. It's way easier for me to go be a Kansas City Chiefs YouTuber and content creator because it's the Kansas City Chiefs and you have Patrick Mahomes. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that's a great point. And just depending on city to city and team by team and organization by organization, that is a big fact. All right, so I'll just do these last few ones. I'll wrap it up here. So if Joe Burrow breaks record, how will his impact his ego? His ego will be, within Cincinnati, he'll be the GOAT. Within Cincinnati, he'll be the GOAT, and with national media, the Bengals and Cincinnati will finally get a little bit of respect, especially from Colin Cowherd. Wilson was a safety and receiver in high school. I'm confident he will be one of the better coverage linebackers in the league. That's what we're all expecting, and I hope he will. We have some speedy linebackers that might have a raw talent right now, but they might be able to find out that, yeah, they could be good in coverage, and that would benefit the Bengals a lot. If we're sending, 4 or 5 defensive linemen and have a few linebackers and some secondary dropping back, that's going to make up for the people blitzing or whatever it may be. So that would be awesome if Wilson can, erupt into that. But unfortunately, that's going to be my last question of the stream. So I want to thank every single one of you for coming into the stream today and spending over 2 hours of your day to, come in here and just talk football and talk, Cincinnati sports. So I really appreciate all of you guys tuning in today. If you haven't already, go check out today's video that I uploaded. If you've already checked out that one, go check out my other ones. I have a playlist below of all my videos I've uploaded so far, DCTV. Make sure you continue supporting me, shouting me out, and all that good stuff, because we are on hashtag road to 1K, less than 100 subscribers away from 1,000 subscribers. So I'll catch you guys on the next stream or Saturday at noon. I'll probably be streaming once by then, but I'll let you guys know on my schedule. If you want to keep updated on my schedule, go up here. Go up there where my media is and add me on all my media, and I will keep you guys updated on there. My Instagram and Twitter is the best place to keep updated of all my news and all, everything I have on there, just so you guys have my upload schedule and everything. Tuesdays and Saturdays at noon are always, but, when it comes to this, live stream thing, it's kind of just on the hand whenever I have free time and, want to talk to you guys. Yes, Jerry, I'm ending the stream. I'm sorry, buddy. I got to go. I have some things to do today, but I will probably be streaming tomorrow, the day after that, most likely. So I'll catch you guys then or on Saturday at noon. Have a good day, EG. Have a good day for the rest of you. It's DCTV. Make sure you guys stay true. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.